Not specifically like, they were like, oh,
we're not inviting Josh because we're evil.
Well, maybe they were. I don't know. Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title, this week's video is going to be a Q&A. Now, I haven't done a Q&A in a while, and I thought, why not now? Today's Q&A is going to be different than, you know, your normal, what's my middle name, where was I born type Q&As. I decided to do a personal, deep Q&A. Since I've been in quarantine, I've had a lot of time to think, and I've had a lot of time to think about myself. So I'd like to talk about myself. That sounds so conceited, but it's my channel. I don't care. Basically what I did was I asked my friends to send me some personal questions. I told them, make it as personal as you want. It doesn't matter how intense the questions may be. I'll answer it. And so I cut down the questions, and those are the questions that I felt like were the most discussion worthy. And so those are the questions I'm gonna be answering today. If the lighting changes, that's because the sun is coming up now. It's like 7 a.m. I decided to pull another all-nighter. My probably like 5th one since Corona, so yay health. Before we get on to the video, make sure to like and subscribe, comment down below what videos you want to see next, turn on post notifications so that you do see whenever I do post, and follow me on social media. Links will be in the description box down below. I almost had it. That's it for now guys, so let's just get on to the video. Okay, question 1. How have you seen your confidence grow since high school? Well, back in freshman year, I was not happy with how I looked. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for more than like 20 seconds without feeling some type of way. That kind of came to a stop sophomore year. I just kind of grew out. Hello? Rude. Anyways, I kind of grew out of that sophomore year all the way up through now. I was just so concerned with how I looked. I was always constantly comparing myself to other people, and it just wasn't like a good time for me mentally. However, now I'm definitely a lot more comfortable with myself. Obviously, I still want to, you know, be the best I can be physically. I'm not, you know, putting myself down because I don't look like, you know, who I aspire to be. Like, I'm not there yet, and I just had to realize that will come someday, but I don't need to constantly beat myself up because I don't look like that. What are some of your biggest insecurities? I'd be lying if I said my weight wasn't an insecurity of mine. However, now, as I've been like, you know, really taking the time to work on myself, I've discovered that like I'm so concerned with not feeling good enough, no matter what activity I may be doing, whether that's like my academics or like acting or singing or whatever I'm doing. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm good enough. That's something that I've been struggling with for like a long time, like since I was a child. When I was like 8 or 9, maybe even 7, I used to do track and field. And the first year I started track and field was fine. That next year was a really rough time for me because I felt like, you know, my coaches stopped believing in me almost. That first year I would run, like I was a sprinter. I would do the 100 meter, 200 meter, and relays. That's usually what I did. Sometimes I do long jump, but I digress. My second year doing track, I stopped getting those races. Like, I stopped getting sprinting races, sprinting events. You could say like, oh, you were probably getting stronger. I mean, yeah, but that wasn't it. And I knew that at that young age that wasn't it. I knew that my coaches had stopped thinking like I was capable of running. And so that really put me, like, as a young child, like, they really put me through like trauma. Like, that was traumatic to know that, like, you know, these people don't think I'm good enough to be on their team. Well, not on the team, but they don't think I'm good enough to do what I'm used to. That bled into it followed me all the way up until now. And I'm still struggling with not feeling good enough with whatever I do, whether that be like in cheer or again like theater or acting. Like I'm always feeling like somebody's better than I am, which is true. Like there's always going to be somebody better than me, but I'm always putting myself down because I don't feel like I'm as good as that person, or the people that I want to notice me aren't noticing me. Like I'm always in that mindset, and I really need to break out of it. This question could be triggering for you. If it is, feel free to skip. Have you ever thought about ending your own life? And the answer to that question is yes, I have. Last semester, I was in a really dark place for a hot second. It was tough. I don't know what it was. I think maybe it could have been like just the stress of being in a new environment and being so overwhelmed with, change, that it like freaked me out to the point where like I wanted to hurt myself. I really wasn't in a good state of mind in that time. That's all I'm gonna say about that. What are some of your biggest fears? I go to school for theater. I want to be an actor, specifically a theater actor. If I get the opportunity to do like commercial theater, like TV or movies, obviously I'm gonna take it because why not? But I'm more so geared towards the stage. My biggest fear, and I've actually had this fear for a long time, like since I was a kid. I've always had the fear of not being able to support myself financially. Like I've always had the fear of like being poor and being homeless ever since I was a kid. Getting a job isn't always easy for everybody, but being like a teacher or a lawyer is so much more like stable than trying to go out and be an actor, because you never know what can happen when you're trying to be an actor. Being a teacher, you know that your job basically is, for the most part, always secure. Theater, your job is never secure. So that's something that really freaks me out. I'm always thinking about like, okay, after graduation, what am I gonna do? Like if I don't get a job in theater, like what am I gonna do? My fear with that is like I'm not going to be able to support myself right out of college, right away doing something that I want to do. So wish me luck. What is the one thought you always have as a minority? I had to get a little bit of clarification for what that meant. So as a minority, specifically for being black, I'm always seeing a lot of like, because your ancestors did this to my people, you're a bad person, which is not the case like at all. Like that's my issue with that. And I've kind of fallen out with a couple of friends because I have that opinion. And honestly, I don't really see the problem with that opinion. Like, I don't think we should be ostracizing an entire race because of something that they didn't even do. Granted, there are people who still, think that black people aren't people. And, that's a different story. Like, those people can catch hands. I don't promote violence on my channel. Sorry. I don't think, like, we should always constantly being like, all white people are bad because of slavery, which is not the case. There are plenty of white people who understand their privilege and also like how we are still being affected by things like slavery. What was it like coming out? Well, if you really want to know, I have a video for you right here. Shameless self-promo. Anyways, in a shorter version, coming out for me, like anybody else, was very scary and very tough. I had to kind of do it piece by piece. So I first came out to my friends in the 8th grade completely as gay. And then I came out to my sister. She was like the first family member that I came out to. And I texted her while we were both at home. She literally, what the fuck? She was like, did you mean to send me this text? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, I already knew. And I was like, bitch, no you didn't. I had a channel before this one that I deleted for no reason. I don't know why I kept doing that. Like, I probably would be famous if I would stop doing that. Probably not. I made a coming out story video the summer of 2017. My parents are divorced. My dad doesn't live in the same city as me. At least, yeah, my dad doesn't live in the same city as me. When he saw the video, I guess he understood like my actual experience and like the experience that a lot of LGBTQ plus ABCDFG people go through. It really like opened his eyes, because before that, you know, I grew up in a Christian household. I'm still Christian, but it was very like, you know, straight is right, being gay is wrong, plain and simple. Basically, to make it clear for everybody who didn't know, I made another video, which is a video I plugged earlier, and I put it on all of my platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. I suggest, if you struggle with like doing that face to face, make it into a video and either like send it specific to specific people or like post it somewhere. Have I ever been bullied? Yes. I wasn't really bullied in high school because I threw down. Like, I didn't allow myself to be bullied in high school. Like, I was not going through that. I was more so in middle school. I was probably bullied maybe about like 15% out of my entire middle school experience. So it wasn't really like that bad. Back then, like, if you would say something about me, like, I would really get offended. Now I'm just like, okay, well, one day you're gonna die, so who cares? In middle school, I was more so bullied by my friends, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But the other kind of bullying that happened, sometimes I'd be, you know, it was more so because of my sexuality. Sometimes I would be called faggot, sometimes fruity, I don't know. It was just things like that. Middle schoolers are bitches, I'm not gonna lie. The other kind of bullying that I went to was more towards like, for my friends. So with my friend group back then, you had like the entire group of friends. So you had your big circle, but then you also had an inner circle. As like, I guess more friends, most friend groups do, but I never felt like I was part of that inner circle, ever. Because there'd be times like they would make plans to hang out without me. Not specifically like, they were like, oh,
we're not inviting Josh because we're evil.
Well, maybe they were, I don't know. I don't think it was like that, but I think like I wasn't ever a friend that they ever thought of to like check up on or things like that. Like I was very much a third wheel friend. My problem was like, I never stood up for myself. Everybody would just kind of gang up on me a little bit. Not everybody. Shout out to Annalise, because you never did that, because you're a real one. I love you. Anyways, but for the others, shame on you. Whenever I would speak up for myself though, I would kind of get ganged up on. They would be like, you're being rude, you're being mean, like, you know, shut up. Sometimes they would actually tell me to shut up, I'm not gonna lie. First time I actually stood up for myself was one day at lunch. I got called a liar. I told everybody that I was going to this certain school, but that fell through. And so I was going to a different school, and then the next year I would transfer to that other school, and that's what my new plan was. But they saw it as, oh, I was lying, and I was never going to that school in the first place, which was like, no, I wasn't lying. The plans just fell through. And so I was so fed up. Like, I was just like, you know what? I don't like you anymore. Like, y'all are rude, y'all are mean, y'all are not good people. And so I stopped hanging out with them for a while. Well, I stopped eating lunch with them for a while, until, you know, one day at rehearsals, because, you know, I went to a performing arts middle school, so we were always doing plays. One day at rehearsal, they all just came up to me and they were just like, we're sorry. And that was that. Even though they apologized for that, like, that still doesn't make up for like the 3 years of low-key mental abuse that I went through. I wanted to impress them so much. And you should not have to work so hard to impress your friends. Like, you don't need to impress your friends at all. You know, that's not what being friends are for. Like, that's not what being friends is about. Like, you're friends because you're friends, not because you are trying to prove something to them all the time. I wish I knew that. Last but not least, what is a piece of advice you would give to your 15-year-old self? Now, this is a question that I made up, and I chose the age 15 because 15, for my personality, I was in the middle of 2 personality changes. Right before then, I was I was kind of a pushover. I was very complacent. I let people talk to me, you know, in a kind of way. After 15, I became more confident. Like, I stopped being a doormat for people, and I really knew my self-worth. And so 15, like, I was really kind of in this sort of personality limbo. Like, I didn't know who I was. And part of that was because I, you know, just started high school. And, you know, when you're in your freshman year, you don't really know about yourself yet. So I was still kind of figuring that out. But the piece of advice that I would give for myself back then was, like, you don't have to impress anybody. Like, you don't have to work so hard trying to please people or trying to be seen. Because that was a thing I struggled with all throughout high school. I kept trying to, not so much impress people, but like, I kept trying to be noticed by certain people that I really didn't need to try and be noticed by. Yes, being like getting acknowledgements is good, but I wanted it so bad from like a certain person, but multiple people too. Like, I wanted it so bad to be seen like I was good, and it really kind of ruined my it didn't ruin it, but like, that was an overall theme for my high school career, was like constantly being second banana, constantly never getting like the opportunities that other people may have gotten, and they shouldn't have affected me like it did. So what I would say to my 15-year-old self and to all of y'all is that you don't have to try and impress people who overall really don't have a lot to do with your life. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. But like, overall, you really just don't need to spend so much time trying to prove yourself to other people who don't really care or don't really matter. Okay guys, so that is all the questions I have for today's Q&A. Comment down below if you have any more questions, or answer some of the questions in the comments if you want. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what videos you want to see next. Turn on post notifications so that you do see whenever I do post. And follow me in social media. Links will be in the description box down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye guys.